DJ Holy Vogue. Yo!
You're locked into Point 5 Creative Studios, where Africa's stories aren't just told, they're produced. News, politics, entertainment, films that move the continent. We bring the truth, the fire, the creativity. Your world, powered by African storytelling. Point 5 Creative Studios. Point 5 Creative Studios. Point 5 Creative Studios. Point 5 Creative Studios. Point 5 Creative Studios.
Members of the press corps, fellow citizens, I come to you at such a critical moment in the history of our country, possibly after 2 years having left the dance floor, hoping that somebody else would occupy that dance floor. But I see there's none who has chosen to occupy the dance floor, and the dance floor is vacant. And I've seen it fit that I'm back on the floor to dance for my nation, to dance for the citizens, and to dance for the future. Our nation faces a pivotal moment and a critical juncture in the history of our country. The promise of independence has not yet translated into that rapid, accelerated transformation that we hoped to see. We have not seen transformation. That promise has been hijacked. We have not seen shared prosperity. We have not seen the dignity that had been promised to the citizens. We have not seen the sovereignty that the citizens were promised. We have not seen opportunities for all. But today, Zimbabwe is gripped by a disputed national processes cycle, deepening economic hardships, political uncertainty, social collapse, and moral decay. Government services and supports has been partisanized, meaning to say that things are done according to the partisan lines. We've seen an escalation of discohesion, unfolding instability, heightened national anxiety, and eroded public trust. We've endured decades of crisis, political intolerance, national discohesion. Hatred has become a religion. Hate has been foisted upon the citizens on account of politics and political differences. Zimbabwe continues to suffer from a debilitating legitimacy crisis born out of rigged elections, institutionalized idolatry, sponsored hate, contrived intolerance, endemic corruption, illegal recalls, hijacking of genuine alternative or opposition, and ubiquitous state capture. For Zimbabweans in the diaspora, life has not been easy. The struggle is real. Men who have left our country continue to suffer and wallow in abject poverty. The immigration issues affecting the world, and Zimbabweans in particular, are numerous. The harassment, the embarrassment, the humiliation that we have to endure is despicable. Some are locked up in unlawful detentions. Concurrently, we've also seen the resilience of the citizens of Zimbabwe that remains unbroken. From our towns to our villages, in our factories, our industries, in the diaspora and at home, the call is clear. Change must happen, and change must kick in. Zimbabwe must reset. Zimbabwe needs a fresh start. This is a moment for a fresh start, a new beginning that is anchored on transformation, unity, hope, and purposeful action. We are all aware of the crisis in Zimbabwe. It is a crisis of a national proportion, a crisis of governance. It is a leadership crisis characterized by disputed national processes, discredited elections, and a stolen mandate which creates instability, uncertainty, hardships, and definitely shortages in everything. It has led to abuse, desperation, and division. We've been working tirelessly behind the scenes, even as I left the dance floor of the Triple C. And a lot has happened. We're hoping to reignite the hope, and we are reigniting that hope. We have been working through the SADC channels and other channels globally to make sure that we build that global solidarity for the people of Zimbabwe to achieve change in no time in Zimbabwe. We must all understand that a false fight breeds a false victory. The entry point to the definition of the crisis in Zimbabwe must be clear. It is a governance crisis. In itself, a breakdown of a national consensus, a citizen consensus, a breakdown of a national order and a constitutional order, a breakdown of a governmental order. Zimbabwe has had these cycles, vicious cycles of violence, disputes, tensions, disagreements that are not resolved and solved. We have a disputed government, disputed elections, disputed mandates, and a disputed constitution. The citizens are treated as subjects where they are supposed to be treated as citizens. Citizens have been stripped of their dignity, sovereignty, and their collective security. We have engaged the regional board, SADC, and other stakeholders with a view to end our problems and chart a new course for prosperity, a fresh start. We remain vigorously seized with the mandate you gave us as the people of Zimbabwe to unite the nation and create opportunities for all. We are acutely aware that if we want to progress and prosper as a nation, we must abandon the politics of the past and embrace a fresh start and a clean start. For the past 2 years, I've been in engagement with the SADC Executive Secretariat to try and find solutions, because we took our matter to SADC for obvious reasons, because our courts in this country had a blocked route. So SADC was supposed to be another avenue to give us the same remedy we saw sought in our own domestic jurisdiction. And unfortunately, because the chairman of SADC was a disputed individual, so that stalled processes. But we still continue because we believe that the issue of elections that are disputed in Zimbabwe is not resolved. Even if it takes 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, we still have to go back to correcting the process flaws that we have. I'm clearly aware that some of you are saying, let bygones be bygones. Some of you are saying, no, it's already water under the bridge. It's spilled milk. No, it's not. If we don't fix what's broken, we'll never get it right. Zimbabwe needs a fresh start. What happened before must never be repeated. Zimbabwe needs a new way. The new way born out of a long-term reflection on a critical truth. The challenge of our politics is that the alternative has for a long time been built on the rotten, compromise, exhausted, and sterile past. A past that stands for the organic emergence and growth of an authentic, credible alternative in Zimbabwe. Instead of progress, the old ways have produced entitlement, fatigue, exhaustion, compromise, corruption, and being bought, joining the grave train. People literally chasing titles and entitlements instead of pursuing the agenda transformation. Such foundations cannot sustain a credible alternative. This is why Agenda 2026 is about a clean break from the mistakes and missteps of the past. It is a commitment to reimagine Zimbabwe and to rebuild a nation on democratic values, constitutionalism, competence, compassion, a fresh start that means we are rejecting fear, violence, corruption, selfishness, greed, and exclusion, embracing ethical leadership, accountability, and citizen service. This agenda is not about personalities. It's not about individuals. It is about the collective. It is about the citizens. It is not about political parties either, but about citizens, about a movement that embraces all citizens. It is not about positions. It is about purpose. It is not about whatever we have seen, the recycling of the old, but the renewal of the citizens and their galvanized agents. And this is why we have identified 5 critical issues for this year as the agenda. The first one is we are building a new national consensus across the whole country as number 1. A new national consensus entails what we want to see with the citizens, for the citizens, about the citizens. Citizens need a unit of action, a unit of direction, and of course, a unit of destiny and destination. Unity is not imposed. It is built organically from below through communication, connection, conversation, consultation, and consensus. We are reawakening and exhorting citizens to define a new national consensus anchored on the citizens, not a small elite of politicians, opportunists, and careerists who just want to fly to parliament or fly to local authorities or to fly to state house without clearly answering the fundamental and central questions affecting our country. What Zimbabwe we want and how we want it. That is the process and the destination. That unity is grounded in oneness. We fall together, we fail together, or we rise together. We are one nation, one vision, one future, one success, and even in circumstances of failure, one fall. There is no separate destiny for a few and for another. We must understand that we have over 5 million Zimbabweans in the diaspora, and it doesn't matter how good you are, even if you're a blue chip company, because you have a bad government, your goodness is eroded. You are a good citizen, but with a bad leadership, the ultimate is that your gains are negated. So the key agenda for this year is going to be to unite all progressive forces around this new national consensus, built on forgiveness, peace, healing of wounds, and oneness. That is our agenda. That is the basis of an everlasting national reconstruction and reconciliation. Number two, we are going to be reclaiming citizen agency and leadership. Let the citizens lead. Apart from understanding that we need oneness and the collectiveness, the togetherness, the movement together, we need to make sure that we reclaim citizens' role and agency. True transformation begins with you, the citizens. We need to be cultivating an awakened, conscious, and responsible citizenry. Citizens who understand their agents, their role, their responsibility in shaping the destiny of a nation. Real change is not delivered by politicians. Real change is delivered by citizens. It is built and defended and supported by the citizens themselves. We are building that agency. We are going to make sure that we do everything practically possible to act, mobilize, organize, recruit, conscientize, educate, and sustain so that information flows to every platform, every forum. According to our understanding, every corner must be reached so that grassroots mechanisms are indeed organic and are also activated in a mass-based way. We aim to build a nation of leaders, not followers, where every citizen is responsible for shaping their destiny. Citizen agent is going to be one of the critical elements as we build this important platform. Clearly, we need a movement, not just a political party. A movement is broader in cause. A movement is deeper in issues. A movement is more galvanizing for all the people to fight, not for positions, titles, or entitlements, but to fight for a functioning economy and a working country and institutional dignity. So that message must be spread so that there is stewardship across the board, even in communities. This year, because we are talking about leadership of the citizens, we're also going to emphasize action around the environment. Our environment, our resources have been decimated, plundered, and looted. We need to make sure that we go back to that paramount responsibility as citizens. The wealth of our nation must be protected. We are seeing our mountains being decimated. We are seeing our rivers being destroyed. We have seen even our forests being destroyed. We must defend our environment and our resources. Yes, we need to exploit them, but exploiting is not destroying. There's no exploitation that engenders destruction because we have future generations to protect and prosperity. So it's going to be one of our major issues as we go forward in terms of citizenship, leadership, to make sure that there is also environmental stewardship in the country. Number 3 agenda is preparing for the next government. Our strategic pivot and ultimate endgame is to form the next government, a citizens' government, supported by all citizens. So we are preparing for that government. It's based on competence, capacity, and capability. You have seen most of the people who have been deployed in some of these spaces, the local authorities and parliament. Some of them, they are guided by nothing but greed. And that is what we must fight. This phase is about readiness to govern, from a movement to a government, from the street to the state. And that requires deliberate investment in capacity, competence, and character, and the necessary policy depth, administrative readiness, ethical leadership, and institutional thinking that is required. Government is not about slogans or rhetoric. It is a responsibility to put in place systems and execute an agenda that responds to the citizens. I'm sure this government promised that there was going to be what they called the Third Republic, and they called it the new dispensation, which has all turned out to be a new deception for everyone. Nobody doubts the deception because it's so evident for everyone to see. So forming the next government is going to be our critical component around policy structures, around strategies, around engagement locally and internationally to make sure that the readiness to govern is there, be safe, govern, and deliver good results for all the citizens of Zimbabwe. Number 4, we are going to be focusing on a new moral revolution. What Zimbabwe needs is not new faces in government, but it needs new forces in government. And we need more than politics. We need a radical revival, a moral reformation, a revolution of morals. We need values revolution, ethics and behavior to reshape the way we behave. This so-called thing of Mbinga, where we celebrate, accumulation of wealth in a primitive way, must go. We must celebrate hard work. We must celebrate proper industry. We must celebrate proper people being rewarded on the basis of merit. So therefore, we are going to ask every citizen to play a critical role in this revolution of morals, particularly the church, and especially our traditional leaders. There's going to be a critical focus on the youth, investing in the next generation, which is an important task. Young people have not been treated as stakeholders. Young people have been treated as snakeholders, with suspicion, almost left in oblivion. And that is our focus, focusing on the young people, equipping them, skilling them, capacitating them, raising the civic consciousness, ensuring that young people are ready to take the responsibility for this country's political, economic, and social, cultural transformation. Our commitment is to set up young people for success, prosperity, upliftment, and to allow them to innovate, to create and contribute meaningfully to national development. So we'll have a special focus as a citizens movement on the young people. Last but not least, which is agenda item number 5, is the international agenda. The world is in a crisis. Coups, rigged elections, illegitimate regimes, and the collapse of global governance have left societies, especially in Africa, vulnerable to exploitation, inequality, and systemic injustice. Contemporary international politics now is about transactional issues as opposed to dealing with fundamental issues around human rights, justice, citizen welfare, and strengthening strong institutions regionally, internationally, including continentally. As a value-centered principled alternative, we are working to make sure that we restore Zimbabwe's position as a leader who will embark on a robust global advocacy campaign, will engage, disrupt, and hold accountable global and regional institutions, forging alliances with progressive forces across Africa and the world to advocate for transformation to uphold legitimacy and defend the citizen rights. Our global advocacy campaign is going to take us to all the capitals of the world, using our diaspora structures and Zimbabweans in the diaspora as our ambassadors to help us galvanize and mobilize collective action and advocacy for the case of a fresh start in Zimbabwe. Our call to action. As I conclude, fellow citizens, the time to reset is now. The Agenda 2026 is a rallying call to courage, unity, and action. Go and mobilize. Go and organize. Prepare for that new national consensus, a new citizens' government founded upon accountability, integrity, justice, and service. Let us open ourselves to a constructive conversation and discussion, a dialogue bringing citizens together in our various communities. After all, we are one people. We call on all citizens to mobilize, organize, and join the new way for a new great Zimbabwe for everyone. It transcends tribe, color, race, party affiliation. It's a movement by the citizens, for the citizens, and from the citizens, where every Zimbabwean has a role to play in the country's future. To Zimbabweans abroad, our diaspora front, we acknowledge you. You, the millions of our citizens, you continue to be the backbone of our life and the lifeblood of our economy. You will no longer be observers. You will be the active participants in the citizen movement's governance and support system structures. These are the key actions we want. Mobilize, raise the awareness, organize, build local and national responsive grassroots structures for collective action. Encourage every Zimbabwean to become an active member of this new national consensus. Of course, in the next 180 days, our priority is not showmanship or rallies. It is legal and institutional fortification and building that grassroots resilience and consciousness. We must, and we will, want to build something that is not going to be destroyed. That's why we are entering into a season of foundational groundwork, a period of grassroots strength, Oche Coach, Dandemutand, spreading the message. I know they are the very equivalent for those, and we will have them in our communities and we'll send them across the nation. Let us rise together peacefully, purposefully, patriotically to reclaim our future. Zimbabwe can and will work again. The new dawn, a fresh start begins with us. In due course, I'll be announcing an executive program of action that will fulfill this agenda. I want to thank all the Zimbabweans who have continued to support us from across the political divide. We actually have more supporters in ZANU-PF because citizens are not divided by parties. Though, of course, politicians want to divide people on the basis of politics. The church, we appreciate you. Business community, trade unions, labor, students, young people, women's groups, we appreciate you. Marginalized groups, we see your engagement and we appreciate it. Your feedback is appreciated. Over the festive holidays, I've been going around the country, meeting with people, hearing what they are saying, traditional leaders, emphasizing that something must give. If you believe in that Zimbabwe, if you believe that Zimbabwe's days are yet to come and are not behind us, please come. Let us reason together. Join us. We need your expertise in policy, your local influence, your financial muscle to build that solid momentum that ensures that our moment comes and our message reaches the furthest and remotest parts of our beautiful country. The journey to a new great Zimbabwe begins. It does not start when we become a government. It starts with the foundation we lay today. And I thank you. Let the word go. Famba ine shoko. Hamba lomlayeso. In solidarity with all the citizens. God bless you. God bless Zimbabwe. I thank you. Diverting and defocusing on the message, but I'm sure you may have some very serious questions. I'll take maybe 2, 3. I'll start with effort, then Antonio, then last was I'll just take 3. Who else?
It's limited. I'll ask 2.
Okay.
The first one is that you mentioned that you're doing away with politics of the old. Does that mean you are also doing away with strategic ambiguity, where your supporters don't know where you are headed, and they don't, they don't know where you are headed? Secondly, during your absence from the dance floor, ZANU-PF has remobilized. How do you, how do you intend to regain the lost confidence from your own supporters?
In fact, effort, let me correct you there. ZANU-PF is actually demobilized. They are now so factionalized. They are now into smithereens. They are into debris. If you look at ZANU, they are no longer a one unity. Geza was a central committee member. He left the party. Those who are still in the party are still there in body, but their spirit is gone. In fact, they've joined with the rest of the citizens. So don't talk about this collapsing regime. They are collapsed. There is no party there. Yes, I left the dance floor, And there was nobody to dance. Even ZANU could not dance alone. Because it takes two to tango. They couldn't tango even with their own created, puppets and muppets that they had created. They couldn't. So yes, we have a duty to lead. And that duty we are going to execute with grace. Another question?
The first one, strategic ambiguity.
Oh, yes. Yes, I know that you have said the strategic ambiguity. It has actually fortified the base. That's why we won the elections in 2023, because the base is clear about what we are doing. Strategic ambiguity's target is not those who support us, because they know what we are doing. They know the structures. It is the opponent who wants to pry into our affairs. And that's why they're in sixes and sevens. Yes, we'll have new politics. That will entail a lot of strategies that are going to be unpacked in due course. But I can tell you that everything in the past is not going to be part of the new. You don't use old wineskins to carry the new wine. And we're clear about that. Tonio, then last question.
You partly spoken to my other question, which is about the new, as far as the setup and how you're going to constitute the new. Are we going to be expecting new also coming in with some old members or executives that you used to have in the past, as far as the last political formation was concerned? And is this an announcement of the coming in of a new political party, or is it going to be a general movement? Exactly what is this?
I think I must help you. I said it's not a political party, it's a movement. It is, and a movement is like the liberation movement. Who was the president of the liberation movement? What was the constitution of the liberation movement? But the movement was able to galvanize people. Yes, you'll have institutions here and there, but we want to build a movement that unites Zimbabweans around a cause, around a case, around an objective, around a purpose. And that's what we are preoccupied with. So this whole thing of saying, is it a new? Yes, it's a new movement, a citizens movement. New in the sense that you are going to see everything new, from the tactics, the strategies, the structures, the leadership, and the way we organize. We can't continue to have funny games with ZANU-PF for far too long. Life is difficult. We are suffering as if we don't have a country, yet we have over 60 mineral resources to our name. God blessed us, but human beings cursed us. We have everything in this country except leadership. We must correct that. What's broken must be fixed. And that's our focus, and that's our initiative. So I hope that answers it. Thank you. Last but not least.
Yeah, President, I will repeat the question perhaps in a different way. You emphasized on the forgiveness, and therefore, does this forgiveness also lead us to see people that you have worked with before? I will refer to the call which was made by your former colleague Douglas.
First of all, you must correct, because when you say former colleague, it's a misnomer. And you know that they worked with ZANU to destroy us. And that's a common position. So forgiveness is going to be about us not carrying those grudges, but looking at the future and being united by everything. But we can't repeat the same mistakes. Only a dog feeds on vomit as its meal. We are not dogs.
And then there have been some social media threads that alluded to you not having condemned enough the 2030 agenda, which is being pushed by some people.
It's inconsequential. It doesn't exist. Even if ZANU were to wake up tomorrow and impose a parliamentary circus and fast-track things, that does not change the fact that Zimbabweans do not support that stupidity. That's foolishness. It's a walk in the dark. It's a walk on the slippery slope. And they will fall. We have to organize. Citizens who are organized and mobilized can change a government anytime, particularly if the government is a disputed one. And if it has been rendered illegal and illegitimate, even by SADC, even by the AU, even by all the observer missions. So our focus is not on false fights. That's what I say. Don't fight a false fight. Assuming that we go and fight that so-called 2050, it doesn't succeed and we say we are successful. What is the definition of success? 2028? No, that's not success. Even 2023 is not success. Success is for us to resolve what's broken. The constitutional order that has been thrown out through the window, go and guard against abuses in government so that the governmental order is restored. So the issue is not about defending what's not there. The constitution can't be defended when it's not there. You can't defend a nullity unless if you're a nullity. You can't defend what does not exist. There's no constitution in this country. Even those who are in government know that the constitution has been shredded apart. That's why they can have a party resolution being imposed on a people. Where do you have a party resolution being a national resolution? You want to sustain a nation on the basis of party or partocracy, state-party conflation. No. Zimbabweans are bigger than political parties. If you're ZANU, you are a numerator. You can't be the denominator. The denominator is Zimbabwe. We must all come together and debate issues about the country. If you want to go it alone. And we will teach you that you can't walk alone when you are talking about national issues. It's for all of us. It's for all of us to come together and define the common way forward. So we don't want to be invited into factional fights within ZANU and join that. The crisis is a governance crisis, a constitutional order breakdown crisis, a governmental order breakdown crisis, the absence of elections. We go into an election as a ritual. What Museveni has done in Uganda, what we saw in Tanzania, partially what happened in Mozambique, that phenomenon must be arrested and curtailed. And it takes citizens who are bold, decisive, and are clear about what they want, and will lead the church. You know, in the interest of honoring ladies, I would just say allow my sister. But otherwise, you know, in a fair world, I'd say 3.
Okay, you say this is not a political party, it's a movement. So does this movement have a name?
Oh yes, you see, it's an organic animal. It's everywhere. You know, if you want the real name, you see when ZANU screams. They will help us pronounce that name. But you know, we have been down this route. We know how they operate. We've also learned them, you know, and we'll teach them a lesson.
So do you have structures?
Oh yes, everywhere. We are all over. That's why you see that wherever you go, if you drop a stone in this country, chances are you will hit a citizen movement supporter. Wherever you go, you can ask ZANU. They will tell you. That's why they can't afford to operate without shouting our names and obscenities against us. They know that we mean the real deal and the real gun. Governing a country is not a solo affair. ZANU cannot do it alone. They've done it alone and we've allowed them, but we will not allow them any further. I thank you. God bless you. Have a blessed new year and wish you a fresh start. Thank you.